The stroke kind of helped me unlearn a lot of the gender roles that I was taught since I was a baby. It kind of opened up a little bit more space for me to be like, hey, yeah, maybe I am actually a man.
Wow.
I felt this kind of pressure to get to know myself again.
Yeah.
And so then when I started like looking inward to try to like figure out what are my likes and dislikes, then like I sort of like just kind of meandered over to gender and like
I love it.
I was like,
I just sauntered over to gender.
I didn't feel anything at first when I was like thinking about it. I talked to a lot of non-binary people and asked them like how they discovered they were non-binary, and they described something that I felt very similar. And then so I came out as non-binary, but I kept exploring it. And now I identify as a transgender man.
Okay, so when you say oh my gosh, Vaughn, this is just I find this so interesting. When you say that you were chatting with lots of non-binary folk, and you had this sort of identifying like value system or something you identified with, what was that thing? What was that made you think about this?
My one friend said that they got the advice that, you know, if you like look inside, try to like try to feel your gender, and then whatever it feels like, go with it. And they said that they kind of explored it a little bit and they didn't really feel anything there.
Oh,
And
like there was no pull either way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I felt at first. But then I had this like super clarifying moment. I was actually at physical therapy when it happened. I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and I looked up in the mirror and like I saw a man. And I was like just shocked. Like all of those little insecurities that I've always had, like whenever I looked at myself in the mirror, they were gone. All I could think of is like, hey, you're a cool dude. Like
oh my gosh. So this was during physical therapy, a session, you were in the bathroom and you look up, and are you saying that when you looked into the mirror, you saw like your spirit, your soul, and that felt male? Or is it that the physical representation of yourself felt like it had changed?
Well, I was wearing a mask because COVID. And like my hair was short, and I had actually put product in it that day.
Yeah.
So like when I looked up at myself, like I didn't see the gender I was assigned at birth. I just saw like a very masculine person in front of me. And it was just I don't really know how to describe it other than just like a clarifying moment. Like the fog parted.
And how do you feel like your experience with the post-stroke pathways guided you there, or you found yourself there?
I think like it opened up the space for me to kind of like sit with myself and really do a lot of inward reflection. And like I never, before the stroke, like I never sat down and thought about it. Like I would have a moment where like I'd be like, maybe I'm a man. Nah. Like literally like a second I would think about it and be like, nah. Yeah, then after the stroke, like, and I got my hair cut short, my friend cut it for me, and they actually said, well, now you can start playing with your gender. And I think that's what sparked it. Like that's what sparked me like looking for it.
Wow. So I feel like what I'm hearing is that like there was a sense of like social permission to be curious about it, mixed with of like a re-identification of yourself post-stroke. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Vaughn. I identify male, cisgender male, like, you know, but I'm also gay. And the things that I found in my anniversary, some people call it a stroke anniversary, etc., etc. I call it a rebirth day because it's only 3 days after my actual birthday. But for me, the way I see it is like the phoenix. It is a birthplace of a new person who actually kind of looks, well, actually, I think I look different because people say that. But I'm different, but so much of me is similar, but I was young. So of course those things are going to grow. And then they've been informed by this new pursuit of life that does look at life with a different sense of gratitude and a different lens. Like literally, like I have diplopia and a nystagmus. So I'm seeing double and I'm permanently dizzy. So I literally will always, for the rest of my physical days, see the world differently and therefore approach it differently. But it did, what you've just said made me think about how after my stroke, so I was in a relationship at the time of my stroke, and I feel like that dynamic of our relationship was quite set, if that makes sense. Like, and I think this is kind of an age, a stage thing, but I know that one of the things that my stroke has sort of almost unlocked for me was this sense of looking at my sense of sort of sexuality, like my sense of kind of gender and my how in touch I am with my masculinity, my femininity, because we all have those things. We all have mother, we all have father within us, and we all have inner child within us. But I know that my willingness to explore a much more nurturing side, a side that pursues connection, that is openly emotional and vulnerable and more available, is so elevated since I had my stroke. And I think that that's because the pursuit of a new identity and this rebirth allowed me the space to find, hang on, so I like this, and it hasn't changed how I identify. As I said, I identify as a male, which is the gender that I was assigned at birth, but it's certainly opened up my holistic paradigm to look at myself more as a sentient being that is having a physical experience in a physical realm. And I know that sounds a bit, for some people, out there, you might be going, that's a bit heebie-jeebie, whatever. But I really feel like we're having this physical experience on this planet that's floating around that has gravity, which keeps us all on our bit of the earth. Through practicing a lot of gratitude has helped me find that. Anyway, but what you just said just made me think, like, how incredible that this opportunity, you've sort of seized it to reframe yourself in such a huge physical way.
Yeah, and I like the concept of it being a rebirth too, because like you do lose like a sense of who you used to be. And like even if like you feel like you're intact, you're the same person, then but the experience itself is such a psychological shock to the system that like you're never going to be the same.
Absolutely. My gosh. So what would be, whilst we're at it, before we throw to our friend who's watching, what would be one, I don't know, bit of advice you've got for our friend who's watching, who's exploring that sense of rebirth, if they're challenged in navigating that new discovery, what would be a bit of advice you'd have for them to keep going?
Don't be hesitant to see things that you might not want to see. Yeah.
Wow. So be brave.
Yes, be brave. There's a lot of shadow work involved with getting to know yourself again.
Wow. Thank you so much, Vaughan. Thank you so much. I just want to take a deep breath and now hand it over to you, my friend, watching. If you relate with anything that Vaughan and I have chatted about, please let us know. We want to hear from you. What is something you've discovered or you're discovering about yourself in this sense of rebirth? If it's a challenge, if it's a new opportunity, what is it? Let us know in the comments below.